I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care.
Trump corporations, casinos, and hotels have declared bankruptcy 4 times over the last quarter century.
Let me just do it by myself. I'll do very well.
All right, we have a fun little piece here that we could not let go by without noting. This is from the politics section of Business Insider. This particular piece is authored by Mark Abadi and is titled, "The Republican Convention is $6 million short of its fundraising goal, and Drumpf may be to blame." Organizers of the upcoming Republican National Convention are $6 million short of their fundraising goal with just 5 days before the event kicks off, and Donald Drumpf may be to blame. The host committee hopes to raise $64 million before the 4-day event in Cleveland, but so far it has collected about $51 million in cash and $7 million through in-kind donations, USA Today reported. Several high-profile companies, including J.P. Morgan, UPS, and Ford, have said they will not sponsor the convention, despite each donating $100,000 or more to the GOP event in 2012. Wells Fargo is skipping the event after giving $500,000 last time. Some of those companies have said they would not contribute to the Democratic National Convention either. The corporations have not explicitly blamed Drumpf for their decision to sit out the convention, but the presumptive nominee's provocative campaign has had some effect on fundraising, host committee president and CEO David Gilbert said. It's really hard to put a dollar amount on what the effect of the nominee is. People don't give us a detailed explanation of why I'm giving or why I am not, Gilbert told USA Today. But Drumpf's effect on fundraising is impossible to ignore. According to Cleveland.com, of the roughly $58 million in donations the committee has already raised, just $2 million has come since early April, when Drumpf racked up final victories in the Republican primary. And only $1 million has been raised since early May, when he became the party's presumptive nominee. Some major donors that are still participating in the convention have slashed their contributions dramatically. Coca-Cola dropped its funding 88%, from $660,000 in 2012 to $70,000 in 2016, according to Cleveland.com. And Walmart's funding has decreased 90%, from $150,000 to just $15,000. A total of 15 companies have scaled back their 2012 funding to some degree, according to officials from the Color of Change PAC, an anti-Drumpf organization that is petitioning companies to skip the convention. The host committee is aggressively seeking last-minute donors, USA Today reported, but it may be tough to overcome the friction within the party that Drumpf's divisive comments have caused. If everyone is not behind one candidate, it's extremely difficult for you to raise the kind of money you need to, former convention planner Frankie Wyatt told Cleveland.com. I've never seen it like this before. The Democratic National Convention, which starts July 25th in Philadelphia, is about $1.3 million short of its fundraising goal, said a host committee chairman and former Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell, according to USA Today. Now, this is a very peculiar little story because Drumpf always talks about how wealthy he is, being worth $11 billion. $11 billion, and they're $6 million short of the fundraising goal to even hold the convention.
Let me just do it by myself. I'll do very well.
Now, you have to ask yourself, when you're $6 million short, you're talking about self-funding your campaign, all this nonsense, self-funding this, self-funding that. We know Donald Trump's a liar and a fraud. That's for sure. When it won't release its taxes, that's a big red flag. That is a gigantic warning for anyone who thinks that Donald Trump is in the least bit honest, which he isn't. He's an absolute fraud and an absolute liar. And that can be ascertained by reading any of the enormous amount of documents concerning his frauds and the attempted scams he's pulled on very vulnerable and poor Americans over a very long period of time, decades and decades. So again, ask yourself, why is someone who alleges to be worth $11 billion, who's collapsed casinos and myriad businesses, who says he knows more about everything than everyone, knows more about debt than everyone?
Nobody knows more about debt than I do. I love debt.
That's actually believable. Why is this ignorant buffoon and liar unable to put a measly $6 million into this crappy Klanvention? It doesn't make any sense. To someone who alleges to be worth $11 billion, which is incidentally the amount that, if you add up all of his bankruptcies, that becomes the total of what the net worth would be, should those have been actually successful businesses rather than the bankrupt failures they are. That is a pretty striking revelation. Drumpf claims to be worth $11 billion, but can't shore up this deficit with a puny $6 million. $6 million to $11 trillion is not even a drop in the bucket. It is a drop of 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 a drop in the bucket. So now you're getting to the base of what Donald Drumpf is. A liar, a fraud, and a penniless beggar who can't shore up a tiny deficit of $6 million with his big mouth and fake money. So we could not pass up doing this piece because this is what it's all about. You either believe this absolute raging liar and fraud, or you don't. And most of America doesn't. Most of these companies don't, or they'd be helping out. They'd be funding it, and they're not. What does that tell you about this buffoon and phony running for president? Yeah, right.
Nobody knows more about debt than I do. I love debt.